everyone, and welcome to Mind Unfiltered. Today, we have the honor of having Alexandra Livanos as our next guest. Alexandra is a doctor at Mount Sinai in New York. She did her undergraduate studies at NYU and completed her internal medicine residency at Columbia University. Thank you, Alexandra, for being here with us today.
Thank you for inviting me, and I'm excited to chat today.
Shall we begin?
Sure.
Great. So, can you tell us a bit about yourself and what inspired you to become a doctor?
Yeah, so I'm a gastroenterologist specializing in inflammatory bowel disease, which includes Crohn's disease and ulcerative colitis. I divide my time between caring for patients and conducting research. And really, this came from a really young age. I was drawn to science and a fascination about understanding how the world works. And
Mhm.
over time, that curiosity evolved into a more focused interest in human health and specifically trying to understand why some people remain healthy and others develop diseases. And that's really what drives both my clinical practice and my research today.
Great. As someone in such a high profession, what would you say to a teenager who wants to study medicine, but is afraid of the stress that they may have to endure?
So I really think about this as, no matter what job you're going to do, if you strive for excellence, there'll
Mhm.
be difficult times and there'll be stress.
Of
And
course.
really, you have to understand that that's really offset if you love what you're doing and are really passionate about what is what you're doing. And
Mhm.
so medicine obviously can be incredibly demanding, incredibly stressful, but it's also one of the most meaningful and rewarding paths you can take.
Yeah.
And if the motivation really comes from a genuine desire to help people, to continue learning and really make a difference, then I think that really overcomes those obstacles. And
Mhm.
it's okay to be scared. It's okay to be stressed at times. That really means that care for your patients. Sometimes I am up thinking about my patients and what I can do to really help them.
Mhm.
But that I think understanding that that's okay, and really though understanding, you have to do the best you can and really use your training and your curiosity to drive you to do well. And so again, it's sort of like passion and your purpose can really carry you through those pressures and, push you to do what you want to do.
Yeah.
So
Perfect.
nothing should hold you back.
Yeah. Was there ever a time where you doubted whether your path in medicine was right for you? And if so, what would you say to someone doubting if it's the right choice for them?
I never really doubted medicine as a right path. I had a strong interest from a very young age, and sort of that was continued throughout my entire career. So I started working in research and labs when I was in high school, and then really continued through college. So that part was easy for me, but I have questioned the decisions I've made along the way,
Mhm.
specifically trying to pursue a career as both a clinician and a scientist. So I actually did it in addition to my MD training, I did my PhD training, and this was all at NYU.
Mhm.
And, that was adding more years to an already long and demanding journey of the medical training. And again, though, I think it comes back to doing what you love and reminding yourself why you're making those decisions. And also understanding that you're going to be doing this for the rest of your life. So trying to rush to the end is not necessarily going to help you. It's really finding the things that make you happy and
Yeah.
pursuing them.
Yeah. Did you have a nice experience in NYU?
I loved it. I did my undergraduate at Duke University, so I moved away from New York, but I'm a New York based person, so I grew up here. And so NYU is great. I was there for 7 years to do the MD and the PhD. And so it is a long time, but again, I think you have to be most importantly, it's being honest with yourself and doing the things you love to do, and don't just do them to do them.
Yeah, of course. What's something you believe people don't talk about when it comes to becoming a doctor, something which you wish you knew earlier?
Yeah, so this is a hard one. I
Yeah.
think what I would say, something I wish I knew earlier, was that being a doctor is not just about the science or the medical knowledge.
Yeah.
there really is an emotional aspect to it. And you are meeting patients and families sometimes at their most vulnerable times and frightening moments of their lives. And so I don't think we're very prepared for actually that emotional weight of, taking care of patients, delivering bad news, witnessing suffering, or really understanding the limits of our medicine. Sometimes we can't, fix all the problems. And that's, something I've also learned is sometimes it's okay to say, I don't know.
Mhm.
And really, though, it's doing everything you can do and everything you understand. And
Mhm.
so it's really a privilege to be trusted at those points, but it also can be emotionally draining. So I think it's learning how to balance being compassionate without taking on and being overwhelmed by the emotional burdens of medicine.
Of course. And how do you deal with it like not affecting you personally when, for example, one of your patients gets bad news? How do you prevent it from affecting you on a personal level?
I think it's really impossible but I think I think you don't need to put up complete barriers. It's okay. I think it's understanding it's okay to feel bad in those scenarios, but it's also, again, remembering why you're doing it and how you actually helped the family through that tough time. So I think that's what it comes down to is, really, if you are compassionate to the patient, you've done in the family, you've done everything that anybody could ask you for. And so,
Of course.
um, I think there's different perspectives on this, but I think it's okay to feel bad in those scenarios. I think it's okay but you have to acknowledge that. You have to
Yeah.
acknowledge it, take the space, you know, take the space to
Mhm.
process that information and then move forward.
Perfect. And what keeps you going on the hard days, the days where the pressure feels heavier than the passion?
Yeah, I think it's just remembering the big picture and also sort of similar to what I said before, taking that space. If you need to take, 5 minutes, even or 10 minutes to, you know, take a step back, remember why you're doing what you're doing.
Mhm.
And also, for me, one of the other things that really helps push me forward is thinking about the positive moments with patients and families. Even if they had, even if the patient, had a devastating illness, but you help them through that.
Yeah.
You help the family get through that. I think I remember those moments, and then also mentoring students, and sort of that also brings me joy is seeing their curiosity, their passion, and I think it's balancing all those things, but also remembering to take some time for yourself.
Yeah, I agree. And what would you say is your happy place when things get tough?
For me, it's people. It's people at work, people, my friends, my family. To me, that's where I always have gone to. So if I'm having a hard time, with a patient, I even just call one of my colleagues sometimes, and it's,
Yeah.
walking through it together. You don't feel alone. And medicine really is, it's not an you're not alone. You train with all these people. You always have them. They always have your back. And so I always lean on my friends and family for those times. And then I also, you have to find what other outlets you enjoy because not everything is
Mhm.
about your work job. So for me, that's either going to the gym or cooking, spending time now with my new baby. So I think
Yeah.
um, balancing all that and having that perspective is really helpful.
I think having a balance is important in everything, school as well. I think when it comes
Yes.
to like exams and stuff. Okay, and last
And
question.
it's learning where your balance is.
Yeah,
And that's what's to me what was I don't think I always realized because everyone tells you about balance and it's like, what does balance mean? And I
exactly.
think one thing to understand is that that balance may look very different at very different times of your life.
Yeah.
So when I was in my training, I had to embrace that my balance would be very different. I was 99% of my time was doing training,
Mhm.
but I was with my colleagues. Could lean on them. So, you have to understand that the balance may not time wise look the same throughout your life, but there always has to be some balance.
Yeah, of course. And if you could speak to your 15-year-old self and give her only one piece of advice, what would you say to her?
Really just stay passionate about what you want to do and stay honest to yourself and do what you love. And I think that's one thing, I've made changes like at the PhD, I just added on while I was in medical school.
Yeah,
So it's really, don't necessarily pigeon yourself into one path. You can make changes along the way about what you're passionate about. And as long as you're doing what you love, I think it'll all work out.
perfect. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.